Okay, so you know that feeling, right?
Oh, yeah. I know it well.
It's like 11:30 at night. Maybe it's 1 in the morning.
Or later.
Or later, exactly. And you know you should be asleep. Your body is just exhausted, but your mind is completely wired.
Wired, yeah.
You're trapped in that glow of the screen, and your thumb is just doing that same hypnotic thing. Scroll, scroll, scroll.
And you're seeing, what, a war on one screen, then a recipe, then someone's vacation.
It's this insane, chaotic stream of consciousness. And technically speaking, you're the most connected human being who has ever lived.
You have the entire Library of Alexandria in your pocket. I mean, it's updated in real time.
And this is the kicker, the thing that actually keeps me up at night. Why, with all of that connection, does it feel so incredibly lonely?
So hollow.
So hollow, yeah.
Well, that's the paradox we are wrestling with today. And the sources we're diving into, they describe this state not as just, boredom or digital addiction.
Right.
They call it a specific kind of spiritual emptiness.
Yeah.
We are drowning in connection, but we feel disconnected.
From meaning, from our communities, from ourselves.
From ourselves, most dangerously.
It's the endless scroll. And the usual advice is so basic, like, put the phone down, or, my favorite, touch grass.
Right, as if it's that simple.
But the material we have today argues this is not just a bad habit. It calls it a civilizational crisis of consciousness.
Which is, that's a heavy diagnosis, but it feels right. It frames the problem in a way that makes sense. We've upgraded all our hardware, our phones, our networks.
Our AI.
But we haven't upgraded our internal software. Our philosophy hasn't caught up with our technology.
So today, that's what we're going to explore, a potential upgrade. We're doing a deep dive into a concept called Neo-Humanism.
And before you tune out thinking this is going to be some, dusty academic lecture,
stick with us.
Please stick with us. Because this is actually a fiery, revolutionary vision for the world we live in right now.
It really is. It was first proposed over 60 years ago by philosopher Shrii Prabhat Ranjan Sarkar.
Also known as Shri Anandamurti. He founded a global network called Renaissance Universal.
And what's uncanny, and you pointed this out to me when we were prepping, is that even though this was written decades ago, it reads like a direct response to the TikTok era.
It's so prescient, it's almost spooky.
So here's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to look at how to move from creating art for likes to creating art for life.
And how to stop thinking just about me and start thinking about we.
And we're going to find out why the sources we're looking at claim that young people, specifically the youth, are the only ones who can actually pull this off.
It's essentially a roadmap for moving from being a passive consumer to a conscious creator. And it's incredibly optimistic.
Which we desperately need right now.
We really do.
Okay, let's start with the diagnosis. The source material lays out this picture of the modern world that is, well, it's almost uncomfortably accurate.
The contrasts are so sharp.
They really are.
Okay.
The first one. Technology is advanced, but minds are stressed.
That's the baseline for everything, isn't it? We have all these tools that should make life easier, but anxiety levels are just through the roof.
And then it goes deeper. Information is everywhere, but wisdom is rare.
Oh, that's the one that gets me.
Me too. Because we have access to every fact ever. You want to know the capital of Bolivia? 3 seconds.
But knowing what to do with that information, knowing what's true or what's valuable or moral.
That seems harder than ever.
Because wisdom needs context. It needs synthesis. And the scroll doesn't give you context. It gives you dopamine. It gives you fragments.
And then there's this one. Creativity is trending, but conscience is missing.
Think about the whole creator economy.
Exactly. Everyone's a creator. We're told be viral, be rich, be an influencer.
Society's just screaming, compete harder and get those views.
Optimize your retention rate.
But as the source points out, no one is screaming, be humane. We built this entire system that rewards metrics, views, dollars, shares, but it has absolutely no mechanism to reward humanity.
So we've got this high-tech world with low-tech ethics, and that's where neo-humanism comes in. What's the core solution here?
Well, neo-humanism starts with a really radical, almost dangerous question.
Okay.
It asks, why limit love only to your religion, nation, or group?
Sounds so simple, like something you'd see on a poster. But if you really think about it,
if you really pressure test it, it's profound. Most of us would say, oh, I'm open-minded. I don't hate anybody.
Of course.
But neo-humanism argues that we all operate within these limited, often invisible boundaries. It's human nature to categorize.
It's evolutionary, right? We care about our people.
We do. And so neo-humanism proposes this systematic expansion of who our people are.
Yeah.
It's a progression. You start at me.
Yeah.
Just pure ego, self-interest.
Which is where most of the digital world wants to keep us locked. Look at me, like my photo.
Validate my existence. Then you move to we, your family, your country, your political party.
Your football team.
Right. And this is where traditional humanism kind of operates. We care about humanity, but neo-humanism says you cannot stop there.
Still too small.
It's still too small. It asks you to move from the nation to humanity as a whole. And then, and this is the huge leap, it moves from humanity to all living beings.
So we are talking animals, plants, the entire ecosystem.
The entire web of life. It's not just about treating other humans well. It's about recognizing that a tree, a river, a dog, they all have existential value.
They have a right to exist not just as a resource for us to use.
Exactly. Not just as props in our story, but as entities in themselves. And the source links this limited identity to everything.
Climate change, war, all of it.
It's the root cause. Why do we destroy a rainforest? Because we value our economy more than their ecosystem. It's always us versus them.
But the source makes this really optimistic point here. It says when youth adopt these narrow identities, caste, religion, whatever, society fracture.
It breaks apart.
Yeah.
But when they adopt these universal values, society actually heals.
Okay, you said youth there, and I want to zoom in on that because the source material is, it's obsessed with youth.
It really is.
It doesn't just say people need to change. It very specifically says youth need to change. So why the focus on them? Is it just old dogs can't learn new tricks?
It's more than that. It's not discrimination. It's strategy. And it's also just biology and psychology. The source quotes P.R. Sarkar using this really strong language. He talks about the fossilized mind.
I loved that visual, the idea that your mind just turns to rock.
He says, to move the old is an effort. And think about it. As we get older, we become invested in the system as it is. We have careers, mortgages, reputations.
We've adapted to the dysfunction to survive it.
Exactly. Our neural pathways are set. But youth, they have, in his words, vigor and resilience. They haven't been calcified yet.
So they're the only ones flexible enough to even imagine a different way of living because they're not totally dependent on the old way yet.
That's it. Precisely. And history proves this. The source lists the examples, right? Colonialism didn't fall because the colonizers had a change of heart.
No.
It fell because young people questioned the entire premise of empire. The civil rights movement, social reforms, they are always, always driven by the energy of those who refuse to accept the world as it is.
There's this line in the text that challenges the standard political speech we always hear. Politicians love telling high schoolers, you are the future citizens of this country.
Which is really just a polite way of saying, sit down and wait your turn.
You can matter later, once you're more like us.
Right. But Renaissance Universal completely flips that on its head, they say. You're not future citizens. You are present-day change makers.
And that is a huge shift in perspective. It tells a 20-year-old, you don't need permission, you don't need a degree, you don't need to wait until you're 40.
Your moral clarity right now is your qualification. Your ability to see the hypocrisy that older generations have learned to ignore, that is your superpower.
The argument is that without this specific vision from the youth, the world just continues in what it calls a morass of suffering. It's not that youth should help, it's that they are indispensable.
But, and this is the big hurdle, they have to wake up first. They have to break out of the trance of the scroll.
They have to realize they have this power. Which brings us to the creators. If you are listening to this and you write, or you make music, or edit video, paint, code, whatever, even if you just make memes, this section is specifically for you.
Because the source identifies this trap that is, well, it's ruining modern creativity. We call it the creator economy. But let's be honest.
Attention economy.
It's intention economy.
Yeah.
And power without purpose becomes noise.
Yeah.
That line is just, wow.
It's so tragic. You have these unbelievably talented people who are reducing their entire creative spirit down to metrics.
They're chasing the algorithm. They're asking what will get clicks instead of what is true.
They're optimizing for the machine, not for the human soul. It's the art for likes model. You become a slave to the audience's attention span.
And Neo-Humanism proposes a different model, art for life. It reframes the artist not as an entertainer or a brand.
But as an awakener.
An awakener.
Okay, that's a big word. It sounds a bit grandiose. What does that actually look like? Because, not everyone can write some huge philosophical treatise. Some people just want to make cool beats.
And you can. But the intent is what changes. The source calls artists the voices of the unheard, and mirrors of social reality.
So a song isn't just a vibe.
It can challenge hate. A reel, a short video, it can expose injustice. A poem can awaken courage in someone who feels totally alone and afraid. It's about using your medium, whatever it is, to shine a light.
So it's about intentionality. Are you creating to distract people and kill time, or are you creating to make them feel something real?
And this leads to a really sophisticated concept in the source material. I think this is the intellectual centerpiece. It's the difference between aestheticism and supra-aestheticism.
Okay, let's break those down. Aestheticism sounds like aesthetics, which is a huge buzzword right now.
It is. And in this context, aestheticism is art that's beautiful. It pleases the senses. A well-shot photo, a catchy melody. And that's good. We need beauty.
It's rest for the mind.
Exactly. The world is harsh. Beauty is a relief. But the source says it's not enough.
It's like dessert.
It's like sugar. It tastes good, you enjoy it, but you can't live on it. It doesn't build any muscle. Supra-aestheticism, on the other hand, is the nutrition.
Okay.
It's art that goes deeper. It doesn't just please your senses, it touches your conscience. It sparks compassion. It builds inner strength. It actually challenges you.
So how do you know if you've run into super aesthetic art? Is there like a test?
You can trace the reaction inside yourself. Aesthetic art gets a reaction. Oh, that's cool. Like, scroll.
Done. Forget about it in 2 seconds.
Gone. Super aesthetic art moves you from reaction to reflection.
Yeah.
Stop scrolling. You actually think, wait, what does that mean? Why do I feel this way?
Okay.
And then finally, it moves you to responsibility. You feel like I need to change something about my life or about the world.
Reaction, reflection, responsibility. I love that progression. It's moving away from that cheap dopamine hit and toward actual meaning.
It sticks with you after you turn off the screen. Mm-hmm. And in a world where our attention spans are collapsing, that kind of art is actually medicinal. It gives the mind an anchor.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute here.
Please do.
I can hear a listener thinking, okay, this sounds inspiring. I want to be a supra-aesthetic revolutionary, but I also have rent to pay.
The starving artist reality check.
Yeah.
It's a valid fear.
It is. The algorithm pays the bills.
Mm-hmm.
High-minded philosophy does not buy groceries. And this is where I was really surprised by the source material. I expected it to just stay in the clouds, but it gets very practical.
It does. It acknowledges that money matters.
Yeah.
That's the whole role of RAWA, the Renaissance Artists and Writers Association. They say explicitly, a hungry artist cannot challenge injustice.
Which is so refreshing to hear. It's not just telling you that suffering is noble. So what does RAWA actually do? How do they fix the rent problem?
They recognize that creativity deserves dignity, not poverty. So the source outlines these tangible support systems. They talk about financial aid for struggling artists, pension support for senior creators.
People who've spent their lives contributing to culture but didn't get rich.
Exactly. They even mention emergency relief funds and low-interest loans and infrastructure building galleries and academies where this kind of art can be showcased without having to compete with a cat video.
It's like they're trying to build a parallel ecosystem. One that values the message, not just the metrics.
That's it. It proves the movement isn't just idealistic, it's pragmatic. You need a material foundation to have a spiritual revolution. They basically say, we will help you survive so that you can help the world thrive.
That connection between survival and purpose, it brings us to the last piece of this puzzle, the mental health crisis we started with, the burnout, the loneliness.
What am I even doing with my life?
Yeah. The source argues that those feelings come from a lack of direction. We're busy, but we're aimless. Neo-Humanism offers that direction. It says, confusion turns to clarity when talent is connected to service.
Connected to service. That's the key.
Unpack that a little.
Well, it's the aha moment. When you're just working for yourself, to get your numbers up, build your personal brand, the pressure's all on you. It's isolating. If you fail, you are a failure.
It's a very lonely place to be.
But when you shift your focus, when you live for something larger than yourself, for what the source calls collective welfare, suddenly the pressure shifts.
How so?
You're not just performing, you're serving. If you write a song to help people feel less alone, and it only gets 100 views, but it helps one person, you succeeded. The metric of success changes from quantity to the quality of your impact.
It transforms the daily grind into a mission.
Exactly. You stop asking, am I good enough? And you start asking, is this useful for the world? And that is a much, much healthier headspace to live in.
So let's zoom out. We've covered the problem, the disconnection, the crisis of consciousness. We've covered the philosophy Neo-Humanism, expanding our circle of love.
We've looked at the unique role of youth and the responsibility of creators.
And the practical support needed to make it all real. Now it just comes down to the choice.
And the source presents this as a very clear binary choice. It's stark.
It is. You can scroll, or you can stand.
You can trend, or you can transform.
You can consume, or you can contribute.
It really puts the ball in your court. This is not a passive philosophy where you just nod along and agree. It demands action.
And that's summarized in what they call the Youth Pledge of Universal Renaissance. It's a declaration.
It says, I refuse narrow thinking. I reject hate and dogma.
I will expand my love beyond boundaries. I stand for humans, animals, nature, and the planet. I mean, it's bold. It's taking a stance.
It's saying, I am not just a data point for an advertiser. I am a moral agent. It's a refusal to be a spectator. It's deciding to be a shaper of this century.
And that leads us to the final thought from the source material, which I think was the most provocative part of the whole thing. It says, the future isn't coming.
It's being created right now. That distinction is so powerful. We wait for the future like it's a train arriving at the station.
We wonder what it will be like, as if we're just going to watch it happen.
But Neo-Humanism says the future isn't a train. It's the tracks that we are laying down with every choice we make today.
And then it says, it is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for you.
That's the call to action. We're all waiting for some leader, some politician, to fix the civilizational crisis.
But the source says, no. Look in the mirror. The universal renaissance starts in your mind right now.
It begins the moment you decide to use your attention for something that matters. The moment you stop scrolling and start creating.
So as you go back to your day, whether you're about to open Instagram or sit down to write or just talk to a friend, ask yourself that question.
Are you scrolling or are you standing?
Are you feeding the noise or are you creating the awakening? That's the deep dive for today. A huge thank you to the ideas of P.R. Sarkar and the team at Renaissance Universal for this incredible roadmap.
It is so rare to find something that bridges that gap between ancient wisdom and our modern digital chaos so well. It's definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too. All right, everyone, go create something that matters. We'll see you on the next deep dive.